Cyberpunk is an interesting genre of games that still feels largely intact in Roblox. The games I have found that pertain to Cyberpunk are showcases, or largely deserted role-playing games, which I think needs more attention on them. I came across a game recently that is in early access, which costs 25 Robux to be in. Neon District 2051. It is a remastered version of a game called Neon District, which I'll talk about in a moment. This game places you in a city in North America in the year 2051, and what you do from that point on is your choice. Since this game does cost money, I'll show you what the game is for those wanting to preview. It'll probably become free later on, but who knows? You can choose a roleplay name and avatar, and walk about, talk to people, rent an apartment, and work jobs, but this time in a futuristic cyberpunk setting. The map is very well built and atmospheric. You might notice this thick fog that covered the air during daytime in the city, which fits perfectly well with the cyberpunk theme. The map isn't too big, but in my opinion, that's for the better since it means you're more likely to come across other players on the map. And if you still feel everything is too far apart, there is a fast travel system to travel to any apartment unit in the game. And speaking of course, you can buy those too. Look at that magnificent view. Of course, the real magic is at night, with all the lighted signs everywhere. Beautiful. Now if you don't know what to roleplay, just simply join one of the roleplay scenarios which you can find on the menu, which is also your phone. It takes you to the location where the said scenario is happening. How to fit in that scenario is up for you to decide. Did I mention you can also buy stuff? Like food and guns. No one can actually die, however, you have to be a good actor in roleplay servers. Now what is the precise difference between this game and the original Neon District? For one, 2051 is obviously way more detailed, and the models are much better polished. It has a day-night cycle, which the original was permanently set in nighttime. Also, I think the monetary system is much better. The apartments cost hundreds of these coins, which you have access to once and never again. If you leave the server, you don't have access anymore. Meanwhile, in 2051, while you still have only one access to the rooms, they are far cheaper. And you can actually see what the place looks like before you move in. Ironically, though, the original definitely does a better job of simulating a cyberpunk society. So maybe it's better, actually. You do keep items though, in both of these games. Neat. My main issue with the 2051 is that the fog seems to be present everywhere, even indoors. And yeah, the game is clearly unfinished in general, but this project seems promising so far. Once again, if you want to play this game now, you can pay 25 Robux for access. Unfortunately, the original Neon District has single-digit player counts now, but if you want to roleplay on that, this game is free. There is a bunch of other cyberpunk themed games I managed to find, many of which are small showcase maps. Like this one. I'm just mesmerized by how many signs and lights there are. It clearly somehow managed to take assets from Neon District and other places and rearrange them. Fascinating. At least you have access to this gun, which you can shoot NPCs with. Oh, and you can ride a cyber truck if you're into that sort of thing. Oh yeah, and you can do this. This is a reference to the cyberpunk game, I think. This is also an interesting one. You stand on the balcony of a large building overlooking the skyline. There is some green space, a noodle shop for some reason, and oh god, what is happening there? Now, cyberpunk games usually take inspiration from Blade Runner and old Japanese anime, but this showcase took a different direction. I don't know how to explain it. It gives very 2000s video game vibes. If you've ever seen Batman Arkham City, that's what I immediately thought of. Cyberpunk Hotel is a showcase that actually prominently features a restaurant, not a hotel. Oh, and this garden. Sure, I'll take it. If you don't like that, you can simply travel to other places built by the game creator. Like this bridge with a neon marketplace on top. Why not? And if you go up this elevator on the other side of the bridge.
まもなく一番線に渋谷、新宿、おめ行きが参ります。危ないですから黄色い線路。
You get to a karaoke with all your favorite songs, probably. I also came across Cyberpunk 2077 Tycoon, which is certainly a blast from the past. Now for a game with only 200 total visits, this game is very well made. I don't know if it borrows assets from other places or what, but it is indeed a Cyberpunk Tycoon game. Immediately, you are greeted with people with blast guns trying to kill you, but whatever, just hit them back. I mean, I'm not sure what else to say. This is a tycoon game. It appears I'm building a factory of laser blasters, which you can use to take out the aggressive NPCs. Skytopia is a game developed by the same people who made Livetopia. And similar to Livetopia, it is a role-play game, except you live in a futuristic city in the skies. You get a commute to work in awesome futuristic trams, or in flying hovercrafts, ride around in jetpacks, among other things. It is honestly pretty awesome. You get to have your own mansion on a floating island. I'm not even sure if this counts as cyberpunk, but it is still a futuristic city roleplay game. So I don't know, check it out if you can. Augmented reality. Cyberpunk roleplay is similar to Neon District, except the map itself is a lot lower quality, but in exchange, it is much bigger. I like the detail of all the windows in the city displaying a JPEG of a room. There are some interesting places, like this Times Square-like area, this garden full of fake glowing plants, this casino, and of course, the low-income areas. Diverse landscapes like this give this city a very grand feel. Kind of a shame it is basically empty at this point. There is some lore behind this. We are far in the future in a fortified city, after the nuclear war, centered around this company called New Tech. I guess that's an interesting scenario you can insert yourself into. Let's go back to showcases. The oil rig is very interesting because the map size is huge. It's made by the same team behind Neon District and Zaibatsu. It features an oil rig in the middle of the ocean inhabited by people fleeing rising sea levels and stuff. There is lore behind all of that. And when you ride over to the oil rig, you will indeed come across people. There are stores, businesses, and homes. And here is what's interesting. Each of the homes and business are built by different people and as a result look completely different from each other. Everyone who contributed got their own personal space in this game. The game is realistic in that sense. Every person's living space is customized to their will. I had fun exploring all the rooms since you never know what you're going to get in each of them. If you want to know which places to explore, simply follow these stuffed penguins. Be careful, though, if you leave the game. You have to collect them all over again, and there are like 80 of these. The atmosphere is so well done, though. I mean, look at this view. There is a nighttime as well, which is when all the lights go on. Pretty cool. This last game is called Neon Knights and is neither a roleplay game nor a showcase. I guess you can describe it as a shooter game, with cyberpunk elements. The game kind of has its own mini ecosystem. In the lobby, you can buy stuff, change your avatar's look, among other things. If you get into the game though, you are presented with a top-down shooter game where you destroy robots with your gun. You can kick them too. I suppose that works. The game is decently easy at the beginning and gets more challenging as you progress. As long as you remember to pick up the extra ammo and health bars, which you can pick up from the vending machines or other random places. You should progress relatively fast. And with all the newly gained currency, you can buy cool stuff I don't know. Hey, here's a nifty little shooter game you can pass the time with. You guys should check all of these games out. The links will be provided in the description. Oh boy, what a fun adventure we had to the future. Or something like that. I don't know bro.